Good evening. Welcome to the Wednesday, January 22nd meeting of the Lebanon Utility Service Board. Let the record reflect that all board members are present tonight. There was a short working session prior at which no formal decisions were made. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first item tonight is approval of minutes from the January 8th meeting. Everyone had a chance to review the minutes? I move we approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion made by Dan, seconded by Bill to approve the January 8th, 2020 minutes. If there's no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, next item is with our telecommunications manager, Seth Bird. He will discuss internet bandwidth. This is an action item. Hey, Seth.
Hello. Good evening. Basically, the telecommunications department for our ISP, we have two internet bandwidth circuits. We have a primary and a backup for redundancy. Last board meeting, we approved a renewal and upgrade for our primary circuit. Now we're bringing before you the request for upgrade and contract renewal for our backup circuit. Our backup circuit is currently 800 megabits per second. We pay annually $35,910 per year. We got our quote from Zayo Bandwidth Group, and to upgrade from 800 megabits to 2 gigabits per second, we're going to be able to do that for the same monthly price. So it'll be the same annual price, and this would be requesting for a 36-month agreement.
Okay, so more performance, same price?
Yeah, basically makes it match our primary, so if one fault goes down, they're both the same capacity.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And within budget.
Yes, sir.
Okay, pretty straightforward. Anything else for Seth? Okay, if not, I'll entertain some motions.
I make a motion we approve the purchase of the additional internet bandwidth for a period of 36 months from Zepco at the same price we're currently paying, giving General Manager Basquell the authority to sign the document.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Aaron to approve the backup bandwidth extension and upgrade. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, Seth.
Thank you.
Next item is an action item. Our wastewater manager, Ryan Ottinger, is going to discuss operations vehicle. Hey, Ryan.
Hello. Wanted to request the purchase of a truck for use for my position. The vehicle I'm using right now is the truck that was originally assigned to just the water treatment plant. It is their plow truck. Knock on wood. They have not needed it very much since I took this role over, but they are short a vehicle for a three-man crew. They have no four-wheel drive vehicles in the crew right now. So it will look kind of funny on the budget, because originally when I went through the budget process with Sandra Morgan, I was just going to maintain the water role, and we were looking to hire someone for the wastewater. In the meantime, I have accepted the water and wastewater role, so instead of it all coming out of the water budget, it will be split between the water and wastewater. We did get 3 bids. We got 2 from the local dealerships, and then the closest Dodge dealership, the Dodge dealership in Brownsburg, did not want to offer a bid, so we did go to Callow, Jeep, and Dodge. The lowest bid was G. Ford by over $10,000, and I originally budgeted $30,000 for this. The reason it's a little more, I did add on a spray-on bed liner and the safety steps, which we usually go to a third party to get those on. I checked with the third party, and it's actually cheaper to get it done with the dealership. So we will still go to the third party for all the flashers to make it a service truck. So if I'm not available, or if I'm on vacation, or if down the road we want to keep this vehicle, it will have all the safety equipment needed to be a service truck and go right out into the field, which is what I will use it for, to drive to Sugar Creek, to the well field, which is why I requested a four-wheel drive and not a smaller vehicle. Lift stations, both water plants, the south side Admiral Longley well field, which is why I wanted a truck. And the F-150 compared to the F-250, there was only $1,000 difference to go to the F-250 with the four-wheel drive. So I thought for the price difference, and all the bids are for the same size motor, four-wheel drive and everything, they are an apples to apples comparison.
Ryan, is this, do we have any trade, or are we getting rid of any vehicle, or will this be an additional because you were using different departments?
Yes, it'd be an additional, and it will bring the water department back to whole on their vehicles because they were down a vehicle. And then this will just be for the water wastewater operation position.
So we're adding a vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's in our budget, right?
Yes, I did budget for it, but like I said, it looks a little odd because I just had put it in the water budget, but since it will be a water wastewater position, it is split, so there was extra money in the water budget, but no money in the wastewater budget for it, so that's why it looks a little bit different on the paperwork.
Okay, any other questions for Ryan?
It's also on our 10-year vehicle plan is added into that too, so.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I also did fill out the comparison, spoke with Rick Hale on it to make sure that this is the vehicle that we wanted. He does our fleet management, and he was 100% okay with that.
Yeah, and just for the record and for the public's information, we have a great reputation, I know Bill can probably add to this, of keeping vehicles, maintaining vehicles, using them until they're nearly unusable. So this is not something that we go out and buy vehicles all the time to replace 1 or 2-year-old or 5-year-old, a lot of time vehicles. We push these things to the max. You agree with that, Bill? Or?
I think so. I think we push it too far, but
Okay.
I guess I could add to that.
I will say that the vehicle I'm currently driving, I believe, is a 16 and has less than 40,000 miles on it, still in great shape. So the water plant will get plenty of years out of that, and it does already have the snowplow package hookup, quick connect on it, so there will be no extra expense for that. It just go back to their fleet, and hopefully we never have to use that snowplow and it stays brand new, but if we do, it's already got everything on it that they'll need on that. And it already has all the flashers and everything, so there'll be no expense for the vehicle that will go back to the water plant.
all right.
Yeah, and I just want to add on that we do a very good job with fleet, but we are looking at other options going forward. We've talked to different agencies that lease. We're also looking at electric vehicles. We're looking at what our fleet composition, because one of the things we have an Escape that's underutilized I could have given Ryan, but it's not four-wheel drive, it's not a crew truck, and it's not a vehicle any of our staff wants to use for anything other than going on trips out of town, which are rare.
It
So,
would be,
just
it
as an
would be next to
example.
impossible to use for a service vehicle. And then if you did, it would be trashed. I mean,
Yeah.
it would not take long because it's just not built like, and to be honest with you, it's not easy for anybody 6 foot or over to get in and out of. And we have some staff members that would struggle with that, including myself,
Yeah, it'd be like a clown car.
a little bit.
All right, anything else for Ryan on this item? If not, I'll entertain some motions.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of a 2020 Ford 250 truck from Gene Lewis Ford for a not-to-exceed amount of $31,283.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Aaron, seconded by Jim to approve the purchase of the 2020 Ford F-250. Any other questions or discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thanks, Ryan. Looks like you're staying up for the next item, which is a change order.
Yes, we have a change order request for our wastewater treatment plant expansion, and I know some basics about it, but Bob Holden from Westler is here to answer if we need to get into some specifics. He's been kind enough to come with us. There's quite a few things in this change order, and I will assure you that we have had meetings with not only Wessler, my staff, and Thieneman, they were all very, very cooperative with the questions that we had, and kind of went over these with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that the expenses were justified and what we needed or the upgrades were going to benefit us in the long run. So I am very confident with all the changes in this change order.
Okay. Yeah, go
Brian,
ahead.
I had one question, I apologize for asking before, I just thought of it. Is change order one, wasn't that like a positive change order where they reduced the price? I just want to kind of see what the net of the two change orders.
Yes.
I was going to add that myself because I see that this is change order 2, and if I remember, the first one was a happy one.
Right.
The first,
And it was much
On the
easier.
project is what I was looking for.
that first one was to reduce the total amount of the contract to fit within the bond amount. So,
Correct. The first change order was a deductive change order, $710,000. And that took the price from $8.38 million to $7.67 million.
right, and so this change order is in effect, an additional request
That is correct.
above what has been bonded to pay for it, but I did a little math, and it's 0.88% additional request, and
Correct.
that's not
As
so,
of
that's not so
right
bad.
now, In the project, we're 84% done on the project. Generally, we have
What percent done?
We're about 84% done, or 84% build on the project. We have one more tie-in to make that's underground, and then we'll be out of the ground.
So you're guaranteeing no more change orders?
There will be another change order to finish the job out, but there will only be 2 change orders on this job.
Yeah, and this is, like you already mentioned, $8+ million project, moving along pretty well. First change order was very good, and these are changes that were requested. So I think in the grand scheme of things, it's probably makes sense. So does anybody have any detailed
Some of them
questions?
were there's just no, I mean, there's fiber in the ground that we didn't know where it was, they had removed, but just completely unforeseen that we would have never imagined in the planning phase of that.
Okay, anybody else want more detail, or if not, we'll entertain some motions.
I make a motion to approve change order number 2 from Thyman Construction in the amount of $67,955, authorizing General Manager Baskel to sign on the board's behalf.
Second?
Motion made by Dan, seconded by Aaron to approve the change order number 2 in the amount of $67,955. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Thanks, Ryan, for that. Looks like you got one more leg here. Syracuse Drive water main improvements, action item.
Yes, this is a request for the approval for Butler, Fairman, and Cipher Engineering to design, bid, and inspect the upgrades to the water main on Syracuse Drive. That water main was installed in 1957, 1958. We have had numerous breaks and found, upon investigation, that there's a lot of frail material on that water line. And at this point, I'm concerned if down the road there was to be a large fire or to be another main break of the repair process. So this will allow us to replace that entire line, and also on Syracuse Court to replace the dead end there, which will improve water quality, which is always a good thing, and to loop that area in. So this is what this will be from, and this was a budgeted item also.
Okay, budgeted item. I believe I'm sure the residents in the area will be happy with this. Like you said, 60-plus-year-old infrastructure here that has had some issues, so.
Yes.
Any questions for Ryan? All All right, I'll entertain some motions.
Make a motion to approve the improvements to the water main on Syracuse Drive and approve Butler, Fairman, and Seifert as the engineering firm to design, bid, and inspect the project for a not-to-exceed amount of $193,930, giving General Manager Bascal signing authority over all pertinent documents.
Second?
Motion made by Jim, seconded by Bill to approve the improvements to Syracuse Drive in the amount of $193,930, and that's for design, bid, inspect with engineering. Any other questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, Ryan, off for now.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next item, Electric Operations Manager Jeff Greeno will address the board about a cable puller trailer. Hey, Jeff.
Hello, everyone. The electric department would like to purchase a single-reel wire trailer that will better equip us in pulling in new overhead wire, and it'll help us in reeling up the old wire once we remove it. We currently only have one trailer that has a braking system on it, which is very important for when you pull wire in under tension, and it's 26 feet long, and that really makes it difficult to get in alleys and narrow places. I acquired 3 quotes from 3 different manufacturers: Brooks Brothers Trailers, Sherman Riley, and Sauber Manufacturing Company. This is a budgeted item. It'd be line item number 11 on capital additions. Again, as I mentioned, this trailer is going to be much smaller. It'll do the work of 2 trailers. It has a braking system and a hydraulic system on it. So it's my recommendation that the board approve the purchase of the Brooks Brother trailer for the cost of $24,667.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Fair to say this trailer is probably obviously newer, but safer than the one that we're currently operating. You mentioned the brake system on that.
Yes, mainly it's smaller, and for what we got to do here in town, it'll be much easier for us to get into better positions to put wire. Not block roadways and alleyways is bad.
All right, any questions or discussion for Jeff? Entertain some motions, if not.
Make a motion, we approve the purchase of the SLRT 8108-8KE trailer manufactured by Brooks Brothers for the cost of $24,667.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Jim to approve purchase of the cable puller trailer in the amount of $24,667. Any additional discussion or questions for Jeff? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, Jeff. Stay right there for the next item, the electric on-call management.
Okay. During 2019, services were requested of Butler, Fairman, and Seifert to provide engineering assistance to the electric department. As the electric department at that time did not have an agreement with BF&S for these services, we would ask the board to modify their agreement dated January 17th, 2019 to include an additional $5,412.25. The work was provided by BF&S requested by Lebanon Utilities to assist on ongoing projects that we had going on late in the year during 2019. So we asked the board to approve Butler, Fairman, and Seifert to 2019 on-call project management assistance supplement agreement number 1 to add $5,412.25 for the work provided to the electric department, increasing the amount from $14,500 to $19,950.
Okay, so this is paying for services that have been rendered, correct?
Correct.
All right. Questions for Jeff on that?
Do we have money in the budget for that?
Yes, sir.
In the budget and work performed.
I would move by way of Indiana Statute IC 36-1-4-16, ratification of actions of officers or employees to approve Butler, Fairman, and Seifert 2019 on-call project management assistant supplemental attachment number 1 to add $5,412.25 for work provided to the electric department, increasing the amount from $14,500 to $19,950, authorizing General Manager Ed Viscelli to approve the documents signing on our behalf.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Dan, seconded by Jim, to approve changes for the for engineering assistance made by BF&S. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Next item is engineering and management service agreement. Our general manager, Ed Baskell, will address the board. Hey, Ed.
Yes, hi, thank you. Yeah, I'd like to request the board for the approval of an engineering service agreement with Butler, Fairman, and Seaford, or BF&S. And this relates closely to what Jeff Greeno was just, the motion Jeff Greeno was just speaking about, because we noticed a performance gap in with all the development we're having on our electrical side, on the civil engineering component. We have very good people and good engineers that can review the KW on a project, but as far as the civil engineering review, to make sure that the civil engineering side of it happens correctly, BF&S has done a great job for us on the wastewater side, and the master agreement would allow them to do civil engineering for us, the portion of it for electrical, and they would have another engineer they work with that would actually do the electric. So that's what we're going for. We had discussed this, not this previous working session, but the one before that, so.
Good. So this essentially helps put a person in place to manage projects, and we know that those are always increasing.
Yes, especially now.
Okay, any questions for Ed? Or John, while he's here? Or if not, we'll entertain some motions.
Let me make sure I understand here. You just presented the TAC part, or did I hear that incorrectly?
No, the TAC part comes
That's
next.
next, okay. You just made reference to that. Okay, all right. Thank you, I'm sorry.
Yes, thanks.
I make a motion to approve the master agreement with Butler, Fairman, and Seifert for engineering services.
Second.
Motion made by Dan, seconded by Bill to approve master agreement with BF&S for engineering services. Any other questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thanks, Ed. You will also address, as Aaron said, the TAC meeting and plan review assistance now?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, just in a nutshell, we're trying to upgrade our TAC meeting and plan review process. Currently, plans aren't reviewed by an engineer. It's a civil engineering review to make sure things are in the right place. The process we're putting in place is very similar to what the city already has in place, using a different engineering firm to review stormwater plans. The timing is right to do this because we have some very large developments considering Lebanon. Lebanon hasn't really had a subdivision, maybe one big subdivision in the last 5 years, and now things are coming because the economy's booming. And mistakes are costly in this regard. In the course of 2019, we lost some money on, I don't want to detail it out right now, but I would say conservatively, we lost $10,000 or $15,000 having to move things that weren't properly handled or informed of at the TAC meetings. So I think this is a good process. We're working very closely with the city on a number of things, and they're on board with it. I've already seen some fruit from this in that when we have plans come in, John Leitner and BF&S prepare a letter detailing out things on the plans that protect the utility and make sure things happen in the right way. And the utility itself is not for or against development, but we want to make sure that when it happens correctly, because nobody wins if there's if a problem is caught late, because if a problem is caught in the planning stage, it might cost 1% of what it costs when it's in the construction phase. And what this does is it helps developers work more easily with the city and just helps the community in general. So that's it in a nutshell. So
you work directly with the planning department, Kevin and his people?
yes, what would happen is plans would come in, and we've worked with the planning department where when a plan comes in, they send it directly to John. He sends to me and Brian and Jeff Greeno a review letter on things on the plans that maybe perhaps we wouldn't have caught before, things like where a turning lane is that maybe the electric guys couldn't see from looking at the plans very well, or making sure that fire hydrants and manholes and everything are in the right place, or maybe some engineering things that I can't touch on right now that John would catch, and that would go in the letter, and it would go back, and it would be documented, and it would go back to planning and zoning, and problems would get caught early. Developers would enjoy working with the city of Lebanon and working with us because they would know where they stand early when costs are low and not late.
So the
There would be no
planning department would have to approve it? No?
No, they wouldn't have to approve it. We would send them the letter, because they're constantly asking for feedback from their TAC meetings. And
Right.
One thing Ben Bontrager has said in the past is that from the TAC meetings and conversations with him is that he doesn't often get feedback in writing from the utilities and other participants in the TAC meeting in a timely fashion. And so they're very much for us providing regular feedback to them from TAC meetings.
Okay.
So as far as, we would give them input, but as far as approvals after that, that's still all planning and zoning, as far as when construction starts.
That's what I mean. Okay.
And John,
Yeah, I'd like to
Please
mention,
add.
we've already started a little bit working on some guidelines and things like that. The goal would be on a final letter that we would get once Lebanon Utilities is okay with everything that's on the plans, we would send a recommendation letter to the city that we would recommend approving the plans. We would hope that they wouldn't go ahead and approve plans until we send that letter. Again, that won't be something that we can necessarily control, but if we don't approve, we're going to send a letter that says we recommend not giving approval because we have these following comments, and we might have, at the beginning, 10 or 20 comments to start. We might have one or two. But that would be the goal, to get into a process where, at the end of the day, if we do have an issue out in the field, somebody can look back and say, well, who approved these? And we could say, well, we did, and this is what we all talked about. I don't know why you guys are using a different set of plans that we didn't. It's just trying to document everything in a process and try to get ahead of things and actually do provide an approval. I think in the past, and we just haven't had that many developments here coming in, but I would say the past development that we had, I don't think you could go back and say that Lebanon Utilities approved those plans. I don't think there's any paper trail or any documentation that could prove that you even looked at them. I think somebody did, but again, some of it is all you can do is prove it doesn't matter unless you can prove it, I guess, and we're trying to close that loop.
This helps keeps us on the same page with the city essentially, and
Correct.
working together and improving as things do expand and grow, and it's a good thing.
Helps protect our ratepayers also.
yeah, and I can add on to that from prior communities, you really need to expand and formalize your process before the boom happens, because one of the last places I was at, they had a boom, and they didn't have their processes formalized, and we ended up spending lots of money with things like sewer mains that were constructed right next to the foundation where the manhole's on somebody's porch. There's stormwater drains between two houses that are eroding the foundations of the house because they didn't put enough room between them. These are things that would get caught in plan review when the process was formalized. And it's not that the people where I used to work didn't know what they were doing, it's just they were used to having one or two housing units come in a year, and then suddenly there were 700. So
It's
we
much
see that
easier.
coming, we want to get ahead of it. So.
It's much easier to move infrastructure on paper than it is out in the field. We all know that.
Yep, we will.
Agreed.
All right, anything else for John? If not, I'll entertain some motions here.
Make a motion to approve to hire Butler, Fairman, and Seifert to provide management assistance to the utilities for the city's Technical Advisory Committee, also known as TAC meetings, for 2020, to be invoiced on an hourly basis for a not-to-exceed amount of $31,000.
Second.
Motion made by Jim, seconded by Aaron to approve the BFNS management assistance for the TAC committee. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Next item is approval of claims. Any questions or discussion on the claims? Motion on the claims?
I make a motion, we approve the claims.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Dan to approve the claims. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next item is other business to come before the board. I think Ryan has something for us.
Yeah, I don't need any money this time. I just want to announce that on the 31st of this month, Bobby Taylor will be retiring after 43 years of service with the utilities. Bobby is the prototype utility employee that if you could imagine one, he is the standard bearer for what we should strive to be. He's been dedicated and loyal. He's been nothing but helpful in the year that I've been in this role in teaching me the ins and outs of the wastewater system, the sewer system, and his knowledge is vast. Fortunately, he's going to take a few weeks off, and we have retained his services as a part-time employee for the foreseeable future. So when we do hire somebody to take the empty spot there, he will be instrumental in training them. In the past, we've had guys retire and lost a lot of knowledge that they have. Not only does he do a good job of teaching it to his current staff, he'll be able to do that to some of the future members of the staff also. So I just wanted to let him know on record how much we will all miss him in his full-time status, but how glad we are to have him in a part-time role.
Thanks, Ryan. 43 years, long time. Every time I would hear someone mention Bobby's name, it's always that guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And as Ryan said, he does. So we appreciate that and glad that you twisted his arm to help out some.
It
So.
wasn't easy.
So I'd like to add some more comments too, please. Bobby's one of 4 people in the wastewater collection department, and his knowledge also extends into the water department out in the field, which has 4 other employees. So our city's water and wastewater is handled by 8 employees that have boots on the ground. And I'm the newest member here, and I know Bobby less time than anybody, but I want to echo what Ryan said, that Bobby represents the best of public service, that he not only has to be physically vital, if you will, he has to have a extreme amount of knowledge. And he's representative of those 8 people, just 8 people who maintain our important water and wastewater. And another thing about Bobby, he has a great way with people. He can even explain things so I can understand them. But I just, sort of as a member of the public, more than a board member, I just want to congratulate Bobby on his public service, his excellent public service to our city.
Thanks, Aaron.
Aaron?
All right, thanks, Ryan. Next item is any public comment. Anybody?
See, I have a additional comment.
Okay, go ahead.
In line with the observations I just made, we have 10 electric department employees who are boots on the ground. In other words, there's just 10 of our citizens who maintain our important electric service. I had the opportunity on last Thursday to go out and observe one of these crews in action. It was a job to change over to a heavier conductor on the south side of the city. 300 customers were going to be out of service up to 3 hours, but the customers were notified by doorknob hangers ahead of time that this would happen, and the work began at 9 a.m. to limit the impact. I was impressed that there was a written switching order check sheet that was reviewed beforehand by the crew, that on the job site there was a written job safety sheet that was gone over and signed. I even signed it. I was required to sign it, even though I didn't understand what in the heck was going on. We had a really good discussion about lockout, tagout procedures regarding the topic of latching substation voltage to limit exposure to energized lines. And I just was very impressed. The employees, the supervisor on site was Dustin Shirley. The journeymen were Kyle Catron and Matthew Myhill, and the apprentices were Evan Cully and Dylan Wildman. And I was impressed again with what I call physical vitality and extensive knowledge, and I just wanted to share that with the board and the public. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. That's a good point. A lot of experts out there that keep things running smoothly behind the scenes that a lot of people never see. So thanks for that. Anything else for the board or from the public? Okay, looks like next meeting scheduled for Wednesday, February 5th, 5 p.m. Anybody have anything else before we adjourn? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, if not.
I make motion we adjourn.
Second. Motion by Jim, seconded by Dan to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thanks, everyone.